What's up, everybody? My name is Devin, and today I'm going to show you guys how to find your ideal macro ratio for amazing results. I have been tracking my macros for well over 2 years at this point, and I've tried all these different ways to do it, and this is what I'm going to share with you guys. I've found the absolute amazing best way to get the best ratios and to get the best results in your life. And I'm also an online coach where I coach other people on how to get in fantastic shape and everything like that. And I've seen so many different outcomes, but I'm going to share with you the best way to go about it in this video. Let's get right into it. So first things first, we got to find out what your maintenance calories are. What are maintenance calories? Maintenance calories are the amount of calories that you need to stay the exact same weight. So if you're burning 2,500 calories per day and then you eat 2,500 calories, you're going to gain approximately 0 weight. The way that weight is gained or lost is by either consuming more calories than you burn or consuming less calories than you burn in the simplest format. So basically, we have to find that maintenance number so we can decide how to move forward from this point. So this is what we're going to do. Method one is take your body weight and multiply it by 15. Right? So like for example, if you weigh, let me put myself, you can see this pretty little face of mine. If you weigh 160 pounds, multiply that by 15 and you get 2,400. That's roughly what your maintenance calories are. That is roughly your maintenance calories. This is like a general way to do it, but if you're somebody who wants to be way more dialed on this and like really nitpick the exact amount of maintenance, then you can do it this way. So the second way to do it, if you're more of like a nitpicker, you want to be real like accurate with this, you can go to tdeecalculator.net. Stands for total daily energy expenditure, which basically is your maintenance. So for example, like we said before, doing the 160 times 15 equals 2,400. Now if you come to tdeecalculator.net, here, let's see what happens if we put that in. So 26, weight 160, 57, I am, let's do like the average person where it's like light exercise, and we don't know. Let's say we don't know. 2,289 calories per day as opposed to 2,400 calories. So you see it's slightly different, but it's roughly the same. You could just multiply it by 15 if you want to just keep it really simple and not go crazy. Just multiply it by 15 and then you're good to go. And now you have your maintenance calories. So now that you have your maintenance calories, which in this case, let's just say it's 2,400 is your maintenance calories, the next step is to find your goal calories, meaning if you want to cut, if you want to bulk, this is the part where you need to figure out how many calories you should be eating to achieve your goal of either putting on size or shredding down. So it's very important at this point that you know exactly what you want to do. If you want to put size on, you want to shred down, once you figure that out, you move on to this next step, which is basically if you're going to cut, here's what you're going to do. If you're going to cut, you're going to take your maintenance calories and subtract that by 500. So if your maintenance calories, which we established as 2,400, you're going to subtract that by 500, and boom, now you're at 2,100 calories, right? So that is the best way to do it. The reason that you're doing sub 500 calories is because if you're in a 500 calorie deficit every single day, you're burning a pound a week, because a pound is 3,500 calories. So if you're in a deficit of 500 calories every single day, you will be burning a pound a week. So this is the best way to do it, because if you go any lower than this, it becomes very challenging. It becomes like almost unsustainable because you're going to have insane cravings and you're just going to be like super hungry all the time. So you're better off just doing 500 and taking the weight off slowly. But if you want to be extreme, like I am, I'm crazy. I used to do it like this. I'd take my body weight in pounds and times that by 10. So if I weigh 160 pounds, I'd times that by 10 and do 1,600 calories. Now, if you're going to do it this way, this is only going to be for a couple of weeks. If you just want to rapidly drop the weight, you can do it this way, but let me warn you of a few things. It's going to be a lot more difficult. you're going to have a harder time, you're going to experience a lot more cravings, you're going to have way less energy in the gym, and you're potentially going to sacrifice some muscle. So this is only for extreme people. If you're just a regular Joe Schmo, I recommend doing the one on top here where you're just doing sub 500 calories of your maintenance and rocking with that. Don't overcomplicate this. If you're someone who's somewhat more advanced and you want to really push yourself and challenge yourself, do this for a couple weeks, see the results you get. Good luck to you though, bro, because that is going to be very challenging. So now let's talk about if you want to bulk. If you want to bulk, the formula is similar. The formula is your maintenance calories plus 100 to 500. And I'll explain what that means. So, for example, let's say you pick 300. Okay, so your maintenance is 2,400, and you're going to add 300 calories, and you get 2,700 calories. So that will be your bulk. You're only bulking at a plus 300 surplus. Now, the reason I recommend 300 is because 500 is pushing it. You don't really want to be gaining a pound a week, because if you're gaining a pound a week, there's going to be some excess fat that comes along with that. So no matter what, I would never go over 500 calories over your maintenance, because if you do that, you are going to add fat along with the muscle that you're gaining. So be very careful here. I recommend like in between 100 to 500. Let's go around 300. Right? That's about a sweet spot that I found, where if you do that, you'll get in pretty good shape over time without putting on like dramatic amounts of excess fat. But if you're like, dude, if you're super skinny, like a twig, like a literal stick figure, then you could do it like this. Take your body weight in pounds and times that by 20. And so if you're 160 pounds and you're like 6'5", so you're basically like a feather, then take your 160 pounds times it by 20 and you get 3,200 calories. And I would just run that, because you could afford the excess fat if you are like ridiculously skinny. If you're ridiculously skinny, you gotta put the weight on, I would run it like that. Go crazy. But if you're just Joe Schmo and you're like, your physique is and you want to start putting on some mass, I would run it like the top one where you see here, adding just a simple 300 calories to whatever your maintenance is and doing that for a few months and see the size that you could put on that way. Now, the next step is going to be finding your macros, right? When you're actually tracking the calories, you need to know your protein, your carbs, and your fats. So we have to find your macros. Now, a carb is worth 4 calories, a gram of fat is worth 9, and a gram of protein is worth 4. So example, like 100 grams of carbs, that is 400 calories. So understanding this will help you get a better idea, like when you're reading, nutrition information on food, how it all plays out. But that's why you're going to see in this next slide, this is how you do it. So the general rule is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, no matter the case, whether you're trying to cut, whether you're trying to gain weight, it doesn't really matter. This has been the most researched number right here that you will probably get results if you do this, no matter what your situation is. So if you're 160 pounds, you want to at least be eating 160 grams of protein per day, at least. And I know some people think that that's crazy. Bro, it's really not. Especially if you're eating whole food diet and you're eating most of your stuff like meat, steak, eggs, it's going to be very easy for you to do. So the general rule is figure out your calories like we just did, and then the only other thing you have to worry about is your protein, making sure that you're getting a gram per pound of body weight, and the carbs and fats don't really matter. If you're just Joe Schmo, figure out your calories, figure out if you're going to cut or bulk, apply what I said before, and then do your gram of protein per pound of body weight. Boom. You're good. You're done. Don't stress about the carbs and fats. They don't really matter as much. Don't stress about that stuff. Just do everything that I've said. So if you're just a beginner, you probably don't need to watch the rest. But if you're like an expert, intermediate, and you really want to dial it in, then keep watching, because we'll break it down even further. But if you're just a general person, that's all you really need to know. So if that's you, do everything I just said. And if you need more help, if you need more advice from me, just book a call on the link in the description. Otherwise, if you're a little more advanced, let's keep rolling. So next, cutting. Let's go back to cutting. What do we do on a cut as far as our macros? Well, here's my recommendation. I would take your body weight in pounds times 1.15 to find out the amount of grams per protein. Because when you're cutting, you're basically going to be losing a little bit of muscle due to the calorie deficit. So that's why when you cut, it's better that you up the protein intake a little bit to make sure that you're retaining as much muscle as possible while still stimulating muscle growth while just cutting off the fat. So cutting, you're going to want to go to 1.15 grams of protein. So for example, if you're 160 pounds, you're going to want to times that by 1.15, and you're going to get 184 grams of protein per day on a cut. So that will be your protein. And then as far as your carbs, I recommend your body weight in pounds times 1.25 grams of carbs per day. So for example, if you're eating 160, if you're 160 pounds, you're going to want to times that by 1.25, and you get 200 grams of carbs per day. Now, fats, we're going to take our body weight in pounds and divide it by 0.5, aka half your body weight. And so, for example, if you're 160 pounds, you're going to want to be eating around 80 grams of fat per day. I found this to be the most optimal for people that are training weights and people that are trying to cut down and retain as much muscle as possible while just getting rid of the fat. This is the best way to go about it. So if you're cutting and you're a little more advanced and you really want to dial in each macronutrient, boom, this is how you do it. If you're just general Joe Schmo, again, like I said, just worry about the calories and the protein. Don't stress about this part as much. So let's go next. Now, if you want to maintain, this is tough. I mean, maintenance is not really the best idea for most people, but if you do want to maintain, what I would say is take your body weight in pounds times 1 and just do your simple gram of protein per pound of body weight. So run that, and then for carbs, I would take your body weight and times it by 1.75 grams of carbs per day. So if you're 160 pounds, times that by 1.75, you get 280 grams of carbs. And if for fats, you're going to take your body weight in pounds and times that by 0.6, and then you get, if you're 160 pounds, you get 96 grams of fat per day. So this is how I would do it if you want to maintain. The reason being that you're going to need a little bit more energy to push. That's where the carbs come from. And you know, in order for you to just be at that maintenance calorie number, we just raise it up a little bit from where we're at on the cut, just to make sure that each day, you know, we're zeroing out. This is just like in coasting material right here, which is why I don't really recommend it for most people, because most people either want to, you know, continue to get more jacked or lose the weight. So maintenance is you know, it's for a very particular niche group of people, so don't stress this one too much. But let's go into bulking. Now, if you're bulking, if you want to bulk, if you want to put size on, here's what you're going to do for your protein. You're going to take your desired body weight, whatever that might be, and times that by 1, and that's the amount of grams of protein you're going to have per day. So if you want to bulk up to 200 pounds, you need to consume 200 grams of protein per day. That's the way I see it. If you really want to get there, that protein number should be your indicator of exactly, I'm not going to sleep right now, where it's exactly where you should go. You feel? So, pretty simple. Take your desired body weight, whatever that number might be, and times it by 1, and that's how many grams of protein you should be eating per day. Now, as far as carbs, you're going to take your body weight, your current body weight, and times that by 2.25. And so if you're 160 pounds, times it by 2.25, you get 360 grams of carbs. Now, the reason for this being is that carbs is fuel, right? So if you need to have heavy lifts and go hard as hell in the gym, you're going to have to up that carb intake, and you need to be in a caloric surplus. That's why for fats, you take your body weight times 0.75, and that's how many grams of fat per day. For example, 160 pounds times 0.75, you get 120 grams of fat. So this is the formula, basically, if you want to bulk up and put on some size. Now, we need to track our macros now. That's the next step. The next step is to actually track the macros, because what's measured can be managed. What is not measured cannot be managed. So if we're not tracking the macros, then all the work we just did to figure them out is useless. Every single day we have to be consistent here and track the macros, and it's way easier than people think. So now that we have our macro targets, we begin tracking them. And if you consistently track your macros, you'll get the result that you want. If you want to cut and you apply the cutting macros I gave you and you just stay consistent, you will get results. But it's going to take 2, 3, 4 weeks for you to start seeing results. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going. However, if you don't stay consistent, I can promise you one thing. This is not going to work. You're not going to get any results, and you just wasted your time. So if you're not prepared to be consistent, don't even bother. You have to track the macros. So let's go forward and say you need to use a macro tracking app. So there's a lot of them out there. You know, I recommend MyFitnessPal. That's what I've used for years. It is so easy to use, and I think it's the easiest one to use on the market. And the easier things are, the more sustainable things are. So we want to make things easy on ourselves. And I recommend if you get MyFitnessPal, you get the paid version, because on the regular version of MyFitnessPal, you could type in like what you're eating, whatever, and all that stuff. But if you get the paid version, you could literally scan the barcodes and the labels on food, and it'll auto-populate into your app. And it literally takes you like 0.2 seconds. So I recommend save yourself the time. Just get the paid version of MyFitnessPal. It's so worth it. But yeah, MyFitnessPal is so easy to use, guys. Basically, when you go into the app, you just swipe all the way to the right, go to your goals, and that's where you set the macros, and it's pretty simple. Just set it exactly as I told you from there, and then just start tracking. As you go through your day and you're eating foods, log it in. If you're eating an apple, search up apple, and it should populate the macros for you, and you just log it as you go. All right, and you could use a food scale, and basically, you know, you put the scale down, you zero it out, put a bowl on, and then like say you're eating pasta. Dump the pasta in the bowl, and then it'll tell you how much it weighs, and then you just go to MyFitnessPal, type in pasta, and okay, 250 grams of pasta, and it'll automatically calculate the macros and everything for you. It's really easy to do. And again, guys, if you need more help implementing this in your life and you need more help with this, just hit the link in the description and book a call with me, and I'll help you get set up with all this stuff. But you don't even need to. It's so easy, guys. But if you need my help, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have questions, just leave it in the comment section, and I'll go in there and I'll answer it for you guys. But hey, this is exciting stuff. You're about to go on a journey and really start dialing in your nutrition and getting results and feeling and looking amazing. So props to you guys for getting after it, and I wish you the best of luck. Peace.